offered as a result of movement of that $100,000, right?
No, we've moved things around, and you'll see where we'll make a note of anything we've changed or done accordingly. But no, we've improved some of our revenues and some of those things, so we have not. The street rehab project is $2.1 million. You've awarded contract. The contractor has asked that they start work on June 8th to avoid any school. They want all the kids gone. So we were going to have them start staging and everything in advance, but they've said they don't want to start staging until everyone's gone. So June 8th is probably, you're going to get very few complaints as a result. They'll have it done by middle of August, I think, when time for the school to start. So that's our goal, and we think the contractor, they had a construction meeting, pre-construction meeting last week, and I think we're on schedule and moving forward. Again, those include Churchill, Squires, and Dodson, just for those who are interested who don't come to the meetings. The continuation of council priorities, sewer pump station, we have a master plan that we're in process of, sewer cleaning, which we're required by state law to do every year. Storm drain reserve, we are putting $300,000 in there. Remember, we started talking about that, putting money aside because we did have a failure in 2017, and we want to start putting money away because we know we're going to have some failures and things. We need to be ready to deal with that. Now, the streets slurry seal, originally we had $100,000 in there. Pavement project came in a little heavy because of the cost of pavement. So the benefits, we looked at it and I talked to the engineer. We removed the $100,000 that we were going to use for slurry seal and put it into the street project because that's a long-term gain. As you recall, slurry seal buys you about 3 to 5, maybe 7 years of paint on the street, and it does a good job. But we're better off completing and really doing a thorough good job of the street project. So that's where we moved some of the monies around. So we're not doing a slurry seal this year. We will have it budgeted for 24, 25, but just this year to get everything funded. We decided we would keep it that way. Pavement maintenance, that's the potholes when you get rain and stuff like that, 20,000 and occasional sinkholes and whatnot. City Hall maintenance, the 20,000, obviously as we had the flood last week, we have some things to fix around here. So we have 20,000 there. The rehab of the parking lot out back, I don't think it'll be 50,000. It'll be part of the $2.1 million plan. So we probably won't spend it, but we're setting that aside just in case. Now, trail rehabilitation, we talked about Valley, and I started talking to the engineers. He said, we got some issues all over on, I think Mayor Pro Tem mentioned, was it
Mesa between Canyon and Loma is one of the most dangerous stretches.
So he said, look, we probably have over 4 years about 260,000. I said, well, we don't have 260,000 right now. And he says, well, let's incrementalize it over 4 years and start putting money toward those projects and get, sort of take care of exactly that problem. So we have 65,000. So we sort of changed our approach to dealing with the trails from our last meeting, just simply because in assessment of all the trails, we've got a lot of work to do. The rains have changed some of, that DG deteriorates and creates ravines and things, and we have to fix that. And we have streets that we have to deal with vegetation and whatnot that have to be cleaned up. So that's where our start is. Then the DG trail repair that you'll see for 25,000 there, that's to replace like the fence posts along here, along Santiago, that occasionally get knocked down or hit by cars or whatever the case may be. We end up having to repair them. And so that's just the incidental type of thing there.
Have we looked at alternative materials besides DG?
Yeah, they have a material that sticks together, things like that. I mean, obviously, if you were going for a long-term replacement, you put in sidewalks. That's the one with the most duration, but I don't believe the community is supportive of sidewalks. It's not as friendly for joggers and walkers and dogs. So DG, the most advanced material we can get, is what we're budgeting for. And that it sticks together better, but it's still
Subject to rain
and environmental, degradation. And that's unfortunately the reality that we have to deal with. The other thing you could do is put in rubberized, but I don't think that is really what you want to put in something like that.
Have we done an evaluation on the horse railing as far as going with a PVC product versus the wood product? Cost, environmental, I know it would be an enormous project, but if it's done over time, are there any benefits to that? And do you know if the staff has looked at that?
We haven't looked at it. We've talked about it, and I know Mike would like to do it because it's less repair,
right?
Because the wood doesn't deteriorate. But we have a lot of community support for the wood, type of railing. It gives us sort of the an equestrian country atmosphere, and PVC, even if it looks alike, it isn't, it's going to look different, and there's a different feel to it. But we have not explored it in a lot of depth. We've talked about it, but we just haven't, because there seems to be a preponderance of support just for the wood type of things like that. So we've sort of kept the status quo regarding that. We certainly can look at it, and I can have them.
I think it might be beneficial to look at it. I mean, obviously, cost, community input are two huge things, but I've seen it look very attractive in other communities, and it may actually, over time, be more cost efficient.
It will be, with no question.
And certainly more aesthetically pleasing and a little more soft on the behind or your arm. If you lean up against it, you're not going to get a splinter. So
True.
just a couple thoughts.
Yeah, no, we had talked about it, and I actually talked to several of the residents, just said, what would you guys think? Because I know like the Women's League decorates them and things like that. And they're like, oh, no, don't change them. This is Villa Park. And so, there's, like you say, a lot of community input. So it is certainly something from a financial standpoint. You are absolutely correct. It would be a much more economical way in the long term, because PVC or that, a plastic type thing is not going to deteriorate like wood is. But it gets the preference and looks and things like that. So we'll look at it, and I can actually talk to us, and we'll get some estimates and see where it is.
Thank you.
Okay, the Winter Wonderland, the foundation is taking care of that. I believe they have some money budgeted. I don't know the exact amount of what they've settled on, but I do know they've got some. It was 3,500, but I don't know where they are, because they were still changing their budget around. Maybe Councilman Wu has an idea of what that number is.
Still the same.
Okay. But that's no longer as part of the city budget. And in council travel was $10,000. Again, the policy was, and this is a discretionary item at you guys, it's $2,000 per council member to be reimbursed as you see fit for your trips or whatever. The policy required council approval only in the event that you leave the Southern California area, the general Orange County, Southern California area. I'm not sure exactly. I think San Diego was okay, LA's okay, but if you're going further, I think it required council approval.
But isn't it also because since it was a SCAG event for the mayor, we didn't, even though it was outside of Orange County, Southern California, it was okay because it was a sanctioned SCAG event?
Right. If it's a sanctioned event, yes, that's
Yeah,
something.
because I just want to make sure people.
If it's sanctioned event for a committee that somebody's assigned to.
Last year with the steak sandwich.
Yeah, because I just want to make sure
So
people don't
ridiculous.
think that mayor didn't
No.
not follow and try.
No, he actually has to submit a reimbursement
Yeah.
report and the whole bit, so he's going
Yeah.
through all that,
Yeah.
so, yeah.
Good.
You'll get a trip report and an expense report.
Okay.
Just to go back to Winter Wonderland, this is adding then 7,
No, we're taking 7,500 away that was in the budget last year.
okay.
So that will not be in the budget this year. That's why it's in red as a negative. All right? So the addition, on page 8, I think you see it up there, and the writing is a little, I apologize, it's a little trying to get a lot. Law enforcement. So they're still negotiating at the county. We talked about like every 14,000 for every 1%. One of the things that I said was, that I keep talking to them, and they don't have a number. They're not sharing a number with us. It's negotiations, and they won't share a number with us. They'll basically give us a bill when they're ready. And in June, I expect to get an agreement or something. They may not even negotiate. I've been told they may not even have a settlement by June. It may extend further. So, but we have to be prepared. It's eventually going to fall back on us. So as you guys know, my approach has always been budget expenditures high and revenues low. And so we have put a 10% figure in there. I don't think it's going to be 10%, so I think we're going to come in, lower than that. But I don't want to have to come in and say, well, we need more money because we didn't budget enough. I'd rather say public safety is our number one priority. We ought to be able to make sure that we can afford it. Mm-hmm. The base budget itself went down because of retirement decreases and things like that, that they had over there. So, and then also we've reconciled with our SO, our direct enforcement, our special event. We have $150,000. They've been billing us this amount. And we've been over budget for years, and we've always just sort of said, well, whatever, we won't budget for it, we'll just deal with it. And Lee and I said, no, we need to be completely transparent and put it in the budget, and there it is. So that we talked to the captain, he gave us a number. When I think Lee flipped when she saw the number, it says 150,000. we'll get that number down. I'm not absolutely worried about it, but that's for the special events and things. Some of that will be reimbursed by the foundation, et cetera. But again, I'm not going to be caught with not enough money in public safety. So I'm going to put it there, and then I'm going to come in and say we're short. We're less, and that's my goal there. Again, I don't know where, and if you guys have contact with the Board of Supervisors, you probably know more about the negotiations than I do, because they're being very, very quiet about it, about what's going on there.
Of that 150, if we could have a little bit of a breakdown as to what's what and what event might be causing a large increase and where offsets might occur, SRO, this, that, whatever, or not, just so that we have, like you said, full transparency would be great. Thank
Be
you.
happy to do that.
Have we billed the foundation for those costs in the
Yes.
past?
Yes.
Okay.
Not the SRO, but
No, but for events and stuff.
for the
'cause
winter-
when
for
I was
the,
treasurer of the foundation, I
Santa
saw
tour for the
I
boat
saw
parade,
bills
yeah.
for Mike, but I didn't necessarily see it broken out for law enforcement.
And then for the other thing, on the 4th of July, we pay the actual vendors, the nonprofits that have the stands pay for that. So there's some reimbursement that comes in from different sources. So we'll itemize that. That's a good point. We'll give you that.
Thank you.
The backbone system for the 800 megahertz, which is a central communication system for public safety, that's about just $300 increase. Animal control, we talked about that. We approved the contract last month. Again, that's a maximum obligation of $8,200. Our bills at this point are lower than that for this year, so I don't see it going that high. I don't see them filling that many staff that they're hoping to fill. But it is what it is, and we have to deal with it. The animal shelter contribution, that's the annual contribution for the actual shelter that was built in 2017. And we have a balance, our share is $18,000, so $5,000. So we're probably looking at 3 years, and we're completely done, so our contributions will drop by $5,000. CJPIA insurance premium is down $4,300, which is a good sign. That's because we are having limited claims. We do a good job of cleaning up and doing it, so those things we do out in the community, and that's been helpful. Engineering, we talked about that, and the council approved a contract amendment because of the hours. So as I recall, a large portion, 60% of that $60,000 of that went toward the capital project. So that will be a non-recurring, so subsequent years it'll drop, so we'll kind of go up and down, just like our cap projects will. Our homeless shelter is $7,500. Again, just as a side note, I have arranged a tour for Be Well for all of you. I would encourage you to go see, because that's one of the resources that they use, that law enforcement uses. We don't pay for Be Well, but they use it as a resource if they have homeless, and they offer that opportunity for those individuals. So our sheriff uses that, I believe, all through the county. They use Be Well. We have municipal election costs is down $15,000 because we don't have election this year. Our building code enforcement, Bill Tarrant has indicated he will be retiring this year. We are in the process of, it says pending, because I don't know what this, one, it depends on the time frame that he leaves. We budgeted his salary for the year, so we have that. So there's going to be a delta at some point. I don't know what that delta is, because I just don't know what we're going to do. We're going to look at contracting. We're going to look at working with other cities. We're going to look at, I don't know that bringing a staff person on board is the best idea.
Yeah, I was going to ask you if there's an RFP out or if we've got one in the works.
Well, right now, that's one of Ashley's assignments, is to call around and talk to find out what other people are doing and how much, et cetera. And we'll be coming back to the council again. Bill has said somewhere between the time frame of November to March, he's going to retire. And knowing Bill, he's going to wait till we have somebody lined up and he knows exactly how he can hand it off. But we'll see how that goes. So if that is a pending item, I'm just bringing that to your attention. That's something we have to do. Tropical nurseries, just because of their costs, are $1,400. This is like CPI. This is exactly what you're seeing, where their cost of fertilizer, et cetera, is going up. Technology, we don't have to replace the phones, I don't think. We had new council members. That's why we had 6,000 last time. Our financial system is $16,000 annual flat fee. Brea IT, we pay $1,000 more, but that's the support we get. Automated fingerprint ID is a flat annual share. Fleet replacement, we are going to replace Mike's vehicle. Now, the preliminary estimate is $60,000 fully loaded. I don't trust that number, so we're going to say 85 and come in less than that. But again, we're going to replace Mike can only drive his vehicles at certain speeds because the transmission is not great. So all the stopping is starting, et cetera. So He's told me what his preferences are. We will probably not be getting an electric vehicle for him because the delays are so long, and there's so many ifs about utility vehicles at this point, electric vehicles. But we'll be okay because we don't have to be till 2035 on a fully electric vehicle thing. So we will be replacing Mike's because it's just, I can't have him driving 40 miles an hour
No.
unsafe about his transmission. If you see him driving the pickup, it's because his vehicle's not working, so just FYI. So next page, page 9, our base salaries are dropping $7,000.
Hey, Steve, just a quick question. Does
Sure.
he drive that home or does he leave it here?
He leaves it here.
Okay.
There's none of the city vehicles leave this parking lot at night, so you can see them, and that's why we lock them all up. You can see a lot of black and whites in here at night, too. If you come there, they're all parked here. This is safe haven for public vehicles. That's how I look at it. We put in a merit pool at 6%. Again, I don't know that we'll use all of it, but we talked about that last time. We have good staff. To keep good staff, you have to pay. When inflation's running 6+%, you can't expect people to take a pay cut and stay here. So I don't want to lose the good people we have now. So we'll be doing that. Workers' comp is a $5,000 increase. Health insurance is a $52,000 increase. Unfortunately, those are both out of our control, health insurance and workers' comp. We don't provide we just provide the basic CalPERS health insurance. So we don't provide a Cadillac program. We just provide the very basic that we have. And any council people that have it fully pay for their share. So it's not, this is the bare minimum of what we're offering. The CalPERS contribution rates, there is a decrease in the unfunded actuarial liability. Our Classic is going slightly up, which is we only have 2 employees in the Classic. That's Bill and Mike. PEPRA is the rest of us, and we're at minimal increase. And PEPRA just means that you have, what is the percentage? I forget what 6.75% contribution. So again, that's answer to your question, Mayor Pro Tem, 86 to 90% funded. That's where the answer's there.
Thank you.
So if you look at our reserves and our contingencies, we're at 50%. That gives us 2.4 million. That's undesignated, unrestricted. Basically, it's our bank account, savings account, whatever you want to call it. We have Section 115, which will again put 50% toward our health and 50,000 toward our health and 50,000 toward our CalPERS. And then we have as well in there a budget contingency amount of 120,000. Now, you probably saw, I think I shared an article with all of you. Every city manager has a discretionary authority. Mine, Villa Park, is the lowest in the county, which I'm very happy with. And actually, you'll see most of the items that go over, anything over 10,000 I bring to the council anyway, because it's just transparency purposes. But 120,000 is for when we get, like, for instance, flooding in the conference, when we have to call somebody out. We can't wait till the next, May agenda to try and do that. So, and we did have that situation 2 years ago with air conditioning. We had to replace at $50,000. So those are the types of things we deal with. But that's in there, and that's fully funded. So candidly, I think we have addressed everything that you had raised in our last budget workshop. The only item I have raised is a resident raised the issue of potentially updating, because Orange is updating their island on Catella, the idea of possibly updating our
portion on,
our portion from on Wanda that on Villa Park Road that goes from Wanda
Lemon.
to Lemon, and the islands, if you will. They haven't been updated in a long time. I won't even tell you what Mike calls them. They're just, but anyway.
We've heard it.
Yeah, so we'll look at that. We don't have money budgeted for that. I have no idea. We have some of the sprinklers work, some don't, et cetera. We have some issues out there, but I don't think it's going to be an extremely cheap project, but it is something we ought to look at and probably can look at it. And I'm thinking candidly that there might be some state money for something like that, just like there was money for the Villa Park Knolls, something that we can use. So we're going to explore that. I don't want to put anything in the budget yet till we know more. It just seems very premature, but it's a good idea, and it will improve the look and taste of Villa Park. The downside of that is that most of the people that use Villa Park Road are not Villa Park residents, because they're the ones speeding through and getting ticketed, the non-residents. So if you really had to ask how many Villa Park residents are using Villa Park Road, they use incremental parts of it just when they're coming or going, but it's not a mainstay. So it's really, it's the benefit, the image of Villa Park, but we'll look at it and see if we can't do something, but I'll come back to the council when we know more. Okay, that's all we have. Our next action would be Tuesday, June 27th. We will have a public, it's a public hearing. Technically, by law, you have to adopt a budget. But at that point, I think we will have, all the input you've hopefully had. If there's something else you'd like us to do, I would hope you raise it today. We've got basically 6 weeks to now compile the budget that we talked about, getting it all together. Our goal is to have it, and it will be online definitely for you, but our goal was to have printed copies should somebody want to come in about a week ahead of time. So if someone wants to come in, they can look at our budget and take it with them. But our goal is to have it online, up and running by the third week of June, right? Yeah. She's saying that because she's going on vacation, so she knows she has to get it done.
So
Anyway.
anyone have any comments or any additional thoughts that they want to add?
Just, looks good, thank you.
Yeah,
Nice
a lot of
job.
work. Appreciate it.
Yep.
Thank you.
Thank
A lot of
you.
thought there.
Appreciate it. And with that, we'll adjourn the meeting until June 27th.
Have a good evening.
No, till
Oh, May,
May,
May.
we have a regular
Oh,
meeting on
May,
May
May.
25th. Is it May 25th?
What is it,
May 23rd.
May 23rd.
May
Thank you.
23rd.